141 million people throughout the world smoke marijuana. Now, whether or not you believe that it's right or wrong, hopefully throughout this speech will be able to persuade you to see it differently. Now, 1 in every 6 people have smoked at least once in their life, and chances are somebody that's watching this speech already either does or they already have. The legalization of marijuana can make a difference in everybody's life one way or another. You need a job. Times in the economy are hard, but if marijuana were to be legalized, there would be ample job opportunities. Now, based on information that I gathered from balancepolitics.com, the positives in legalizing marijuana are huge. From the job opportunities to increased profits in small businesses to making room in prisons for our more hardened criminals such as murderers, kidnappers, rapists, etc. Our nation is trillions of dollars in debt, and it's increasing by the second. Now, one controversial method we can reduce our debt or increase our revenue and also help those people in need could be legalizing marijuana and taxing it. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin with my main point and how legalizing marijuana can help our nation get out of debt. And then secondly, I'm going to talk about how legalizing and taxing marijuana is going to be able to reduce the overcrowding in our prisons, thereby creating more space for the hardened criminals that should be kept off the street. And lastly, I will speak about the positives of legalization. $15,700,000,000,000. Now, each second it took me to say that amount, our nation's debt increased by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, being in the trillion mark for our debt is unbelievable, but what's even worse about that is knowing that there's something that we could do about it to get ourselves out of that slump. I mean, if the government's willing to tax alcohol and tobacco, 2 substances that are far more dangerous, why not marijuana? Jeffrey Marin, who is a Harvard University professor of economics, calculated the statistics and is more confident and determined that legalizing marijuana would save $7.7 billion annually in money spent when it comes to enforcing dope laws. I found that at firstmarijuanasgrowerpage.com. A potential source of revenue from the taxation and sales of marijuana, statistics show that between 10 states from California, Texas, Virginia, etc., our nation can produce a tax revenue of $780 million annually just from 10 states. So once again, why not? So now that I've covered our nation's debt and how legalizing marijuana would help make a difference in it, I'm going to talk about the reduction of overcrowding in our jails and our prisons, which is going to create more space for the hardened criminals. Now, we constantly hear about the overcrowding in our prisons. I mean, some people are in there for petty little crimes while the real criminals are walking our streets, leaving us in danger. Statistics.com shows that around 180,000 people are behind bars for violating marijuana laws such as paraphernalia, which can range from rolling papers to pipes, bongs, etc. Now, those 180,000 people could be out of prison, making room for rapists and murderers, and we can even save money on the price of prosecution because those misdemeanors would no longer be illegal. Now that I've covered the decreasing in our debt and the cost of law enforcement as well as the overcrowding in our jails and prisons, lastly, I'm going to discuss the possible benefits that could come from or that can be obtained by legalization and the taxation of marijuana. I mean, anybody can say marijuana is bad for you and it's illegal, but I'm going to explain some of the pros that come from it. Now, with the legalization of marijuana, you're no longer going to hear about people smoking synthetic weed, which is far more dangerous, synthetic or the fake weed. It's actually known for killing people. Marijuana is far more safe than alcohol and tobacco, which are both legal and have been taxed for the purpose of creating revenue. It has less side effects than some of the pharmaceuticals that are prescribed for certain medical issues. And, well, you can't OD on marijuana. It's been scientifically proven, unlike the synthetic weed, which is legal. Based on the information that I've given you, could you make an informed decision on whether or not you agree or disagree on the taxation and legalization of marijuana? To summarize, dealing with just the facts that I've proven, we can reduce debt, reutilize our resources, and reap the benefits that marijuana can offer. So you decide, are you for legalization and taxation of marijuana, or are you happy with the status quo of being in debt? Legalize